Rock steady,
that
baby.
part.
Good evening and welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. It is 2024, everybody. Can you believe it? We've been doing this for 4 years, and I thank everyone who's been with us since the beginning, since the pandemic, and we've come through, and we have bigger and better guests every Monday night. And tonight, my guest is Dr. Evelyn Bethune, and Stewart-Desmore, who are both alumni of the Fresh Book Festival. Thank you, ladies, for being here this evening.
Absolutely. Great to be
Thank you for
here.
having us.
And
Yes.
as you know, my name is Donna Gray Banks, and the Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation is brought to you by Isla's Diamonds LLC, Lee's Press, a Dante production, and of course, the Fresh Book Festival, which will be held in the beautiful city of Daytona Beach, 22, 23, 24 February in the year of 2024. And I can't believe it's less than 90 days away because it just seemed like a long way away, a couple of months ago. If you have any questions for the ladies, please leave them in the chat room. And this conversation is being recorded. So thank you, ladies. I need you to make just a brief introduction of yourself. And Lucy, I'll let you go first.
I am Lucy Stewart-Desmore. I'm a local broker associate at Next Home at the Beach in the local Daytona Beach and surrounding areas. And I am standing in for my late husband as author of his second book. His first book is Dad, the Man, the Myth, the Legend. And now we are in our second book, which will be Unfinished Chapters, Completing Clayton's Legacy.
Lucy, are you a Daytona native?
I am. I'm one of those few.
You are one of those few.
I am one of those few. Yes, ma'am.
Welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. And Dr. Bethune, are you a native of Daytona Beach?
I absolutely am. Born in Halifax Hospital, right after they started letting Black people have babies there.
Everybody, Dr. Evelyn Bethune, you just give us a background on you.
I am Dr. Evelyn Bethune, born and raised in Daytona Beach, Florida. Have spent a lot of time there, love the city, but I now reside in the wonderful city of Atlanta. And I am the publisher and owner of Bethune Publishing House / Savage Drum. And I'm also an author of several books, and I love writing. Just, happy to be here. Fresh Books is a ray of sunshine, and we were so glad to see something like Fresh Books in Daytona. And I am so happy to have been a part of that initial kickoff and have tried to be present as often as possible since then.
Well, let me just say that Dr. Bethune was integral in it all being put together. It was a different atmosphere 13 years ago. And politically, literacy wasn't at the top of anybody's list of things to think about, right? Especially for certain parts of the community. So I thank you very, very much for knocking down those doors that had to be knocked down in order for us to be here 13 years. And so I need to just ask you, Lucy, I know you're kind of an author by default, right? But what made you decide that, and then you shouldn't be an author by default, just let me say that, because you've done some very integral things in your time on this planet by being one of the first Black brokers in this city of Daytona Beach. But that's another story, right? And we'll probably write about that one day.
Yeah.
But tell me why you thought it was important to you and your family to keep your husband's legacy going.
Well, basically, this decision was made for me. I could not turn my back on what Clayton Desmore had accomplished. And by putting out book number 1, I knew that this was my task. It was an assignment. And the assignment came from God and from Clayton. And I knew that I had no choice. Literally, and thank you for so many people that kept nudging me along the way. I know you have that second book ready, Lucy, which Miss Donna Banks and Dr. Bethune was one of those people. Thank you so much.
Well, let me ask you this. So once you made the decision were you able to find pieces of what he had already written? Because I know before he transitioned, we had spoken about book 2. So he had written some things already.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead. Tell us about that. How you put it, how did you
Yes.
do?
So
Listen, it's very emotional. Right. Yeah.
this interview and this book is emotional.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hold it together, hopefully, throughout this interview. But I
Absolutely.
went through a box that Clayton keeps a box in the bottom of the closet, and it said the book number 2. It was there. It was just there, and I flipped through it and found 3 chapters.
Yeah.
I immediately contacted Dr. Bethune and said, look what I found. And she said, okay, let's elaborate on that. Let's move on that. And you're going to tell that from now your perspective after completing those 3 chapters. And of course, they did some editing and showed me how to make that work. But once I sat in a corner off to myself, I couldn't stop writing. One afternoon, I just kept going. And I cried and cried and kept going and kept going. So that's where we are right now.
Well, let me just say that words written and not produced are words that are no good, right? So I'm so glad that you took the time, because he did tell me, he said, Donna, I got a book too. You just
Yes,
wait
yes,
on it, just wait on
yes.
it. So thank you so much. Let's talk about when this is done. And what's the name of the book?
Unfinished chapters.
Unfinished Chapters.
Yes.
So when are we going to unfinish your chapter? Would you really consider your own book at this point? Now that you know the business and everything.
I would.
I would
I've
just
just
say,
written.
yeah, she gonna do a book because she got a
You
whole
see, you see,
to
you
say.
see what this is what I deal with. This is what I deal with. So, so I have no choice because this is the one of the people that hammer me all the time. So let me just say, I wrote a affordable housing certification program.
Right.
I've written it, and there are other things that are in real estate that I will provide what we may call snippets that will go into a book of memoirs of real estate. Yes. I
And
received my,
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
No, you
I
received
was
your
just going
what?
to say, I, my broker license I got in 2011. So I know I need to, there have been many things that happened in my life. There's a difference between the salesperson's license and moving over, transitioning into an actual broker license.
And will you write anything from the point of a melanated female?
From a female?
A
A
melanated female.
melanated female, a chocolate sister.
Okay, stop that. Yeah, I would say so because things are quite different
Different.
in each arena, but we are to project that the arena is the same no matter what. So that should be projected, but then the hidden undercurrents of real estate it's there, and it is so important for people of color to more
Understand.
people need, yeah, and they need to pursue it. More people of color need to pursue the entire real estate business itself. Title companies, appraisers, you just don't run into people of color um, like you should. And I know in the Atlanta area where Evelyn is, they come a dime a dozen, I'm sure.
But
I'm
they
not
are
sure
always
about that.
encouraging others
Are they? Okay.
across the country
Mm-hmm.
because when they go to various conferences, sometimes it is only that group
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
out of this area that are adding flavor, to the sauce. And so, we have people who are doing, as you say, the real estate sales, but they're not at the broker level.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course, once again, navigating that water and finding a mentor that can help guide you and encourage you, because the roadblocks are still very present.
Still there, yes. And
Absolutely. And the
and
training that's necessary, and just the access to the information.
Oh my God.
You
Yeah.
know,
And cost.
Cost, money,
cost.
money.
But see,
Um,
I believe you can navigate the cost if
Oh
you know
yeah.
what you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't know what you're dealing with. And
The
so you don't even know what the cost is, what the
Right.
cost is to try to, attack it.
and development is a big thing now.
Yes.
Um, People go into developers, and developers are usually connected to a contractor, or they are a contractor. And that in itself, a building or general contractor, it is a difficult course. And it seems that I've got so many people in the Daytona area, and I know this is all over. They will get a contractor to pull the permits for them
Have to.
rather than go and take that course yourself. And I don't know why we can't be afraid of taking tests.
That
And it is
GC
difficult.
license is no joke, though. And
It is
listen,
not.
we're not supposed to be talking about this. That's a whole new.
Okay,
That's a whole. Wait
but
a minute.
it is.
We
Let's
need.
And,
have another,
and that's a whole nother show,
That's
let's
as
a
have
whole
well
nother.
another
as,
show.
But for
yeah.
sure, for
And
sure,
the
right,
other one that's missing is appraisers. So
right.
the lady that I'm traveling with right now, she's in the appraiser course, and she's of African descent. And I'm very proud that
Hallelujah.
she's tackling that. These are prevalent areas in real estate that we just don't have enough representation.
Yeah, listen. Okay, so that just tells me we need another
You can see
conversation.
there's another book coming. Okay.
Right, right.
Yes,
Not
Pivot.
only
yes,
that, it's another conversation, right?
yes,
Because
Yes.
I'm just finding out that there's a very lucrative spot in being a notary that's mobile that
yes.
does
Yes,
mortgages.
ma'am.
A
And
signing
once
agent.
again, in
That's
Atlanta, that's not unusual.
right,
Right.
And it is, especially since COVID,
right,
it has even, I mean, tripled
right.
Yes,
in terms of, because people don't want to go out. They don't want, if they don't have to. So if
that's
you can come to
correct.
my house and do this right quick, boom, boom, bam, done.
Yes,
Really. I
And they'll
mean,
pay that extra fee.
they'll pay the extra fee. Right.
yes.
Yes.
So really, okay. So not January, but somewhere in February. Maybe we should do a show that says businesses that people don't know much about, or we'll come up with a good,
Something.
yeah,
Yes.
Please.
yeah, a
Because I
good,
have so much for you.
right.
Oh boy. Yes, she does.
I know, I
And
know.
Don, I'm working on getting my instructor's license so that I can actually teach the real estate sales and broker course by at least by midsummer of this year.
And yeah, but there's so, as I tell everybody, there's more money behind the camera
Than it is in front of the
Baby.
camera.
than
Now
there
That's
you
is in
it.
front of the
say
camera.
that again. You should make a bumper sticker.
There is more money
Yes,
behind the camera
it
than
is. It
being on
is.
the camera. There's just, I mean, being out there, being a broker, being a real estate agent, I'm not saying anything negative about that at all, because if you got that sales mentality, you can do that thing.
That's correct.
But there are a lot of things you can do behind the scenes that don't take that kind of salesmanship, and you still
That's
get paid,
correct.
right?
Yes.
So, oh Lord, let's move on. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Miss Evelyn, I'm going to bring you on and ask you, you've been an author a very, very long time.
Yes.
So tell me what made you decide to write.
I will tell you, my mother would have said that I have been writing since I learned how to write. And, and so, because I used to write letters to my parents to explain my position when, when they did not agree with the direction that I was headed.
Like, what
And
kind
I
of
find
punishment
that
is this? Why are
writing
we?
allowed me, right, to express without interruption. And so out of that has always been journals, and then from journaling into just writing blogs and op-ed pieces. And my very first real book came out of a presentation that I did with Les Brown. I was on
Mm.
stage, did my little presentation, got standing ovation, and I left the stage. And Les pulled me aside. He said, "So, where's your book?" And I said, I don't have a book. He said, well, you know that you just left all your money on the stage, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And I didn't understand. He said, listen, when I do my presentation, they may have paid me $50,000. When I leave that stage, I might sell $500,000 worth of product.
That's right.
Wow.
What have you got that they want to take home?
Oh my goodness.
And I didn't have anything. He said, the next time I see you, you
Mm.
better have a book.
I mean, it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, it really, really does. And so
Absolutely.
you and Lucy are writing about people, well, you specifically, Evelyn, are writing about a woman that has historical significance.
Yes.
Yes,
Tell
I
me
would say that.
how hard is that? Because everybody thinks they know her, right? No, you
Well,
know
and
that.
and
You
and
know
I will
that.
tell you, coming from, I wrote about her from a family standpoint, which made it even more difficult. And initially, it took me 5 years to put that book out
Right.
because I kept trying to drag everybody into it to participate. And I got so disgusted that I just out loud one day said to God, what is it? I know that you gave this to me. And why is it that I can't get it done?
As you're listening to all the white noise. No pun
Right.
intended,
But God said, I gave it to you. I didn't give it to them.
right. Right.
And once I got straight on that, I got it out in 6 months and it was on Amazon. But trying to navigate the water in terms of, first of all, making my grandmother a person, not just an icon.
Icon, right.
So that people understood that she was human. And in her humanness, she had to navigate all kinds of difficulties.
The world.
Exactly. And she was a dark-skinned Black woman. She wasn't fair complexioned with hair down her back and green eyes.
Right.
She was a Black woman who reflected what her parents came out of, which was enslavement. And so for her to be able to do the things that she did was beyond my comprehension still today. Because I am sure that she came in contact with some really scary kinds of things.
Oh. Things that
because what she was doing was life-threatening for her.
Things that she took to her grave. I'm sure
Absolutely.
She did. Yeah.
And fortunately for us, my dad was with her most of that time. You know, and he helped put some of that together. As a 4-year-old, he was helping glean the garbage dump,
right,
you know, to do stuff, selling magnolia blossoms on a wagon pulled by his little donkey.
3 potato pop.
Right, to help raise money. So I am sure the things that they encountered were scary and not healthy. And so to write about that, you have to really kind of go through what that felt like. And to read her journals was just an eye-opening experience for me. Her journals are amazing because she documented everything. Every letter she wrote, she kept a copy of it. You know, they had those old, they did carbon copies back in those days. And so there are copies of it, things that are documented, conversations she had with the mayor of Daytona to talk about the things that should be done for the Black community. And his responses back to her, you know, about what they weren't going to do. And that's why she galvanized women once they could vote and voted him out of office.
Exactly.
And put a woman in that seat.
Exactly.
The first woman mayor was elected because Mary McLeod Bethune registered 400 Black women and changed the tide of the vote.
And what most people don't understand is that history that's written, even our history, if the Europeans, the Portuguese, the English had not had journals and ledgers
we
about
wouldn't know.
We wouldn't know.
We wouldn't know.
So that even though the history is traumatizing and demoralizing, that written word is the only thing we
Absolutely.
have to stand on what the history was really like. Because if they had not written it, we would not have known anything about it.
And if we don't write our history as we're making it today, no one will know.
No one will know.
Which is why I continue to put pen to paper,
Absolutely.
fingers to the keyboard, and now you can even speak it into Google Docs.
Right.
You don't have to type it. Okay, so you have no excuse
not to do it, right? So you have more than one book about your grandmother. That's correct.
Yes.
Okay.
My latest book, The Bethune Blueprint, is actually a how-to. It is looking at how she went about doing things and how it is relevant to where we are today, how to utilize her strategies, because she was a strategist.
From beginning
There
to
be
end.
no doubt. She had a plan of how to go about doing things.
Well, her
and it
friendship
worked.
with Eleanor Roosevelt was not an accident.
Oh no, well that was divine. Eleanor Roosevelt was struggling too.
Right.
She was the president's wife, but people didn't like her.
Right.
They didn't like her because they didn't think she was attractive. They thought she was too loud. They thought she needed to sit down in the corner somewhere and be the president's wife. And that wasn't who she was.
Right. Right. And so
when she met my grandmother, it was like they became a tag team.
Yeah, right. It was just, yeah. It was great.
So and the history about Eleanor talks about the fact that they were friends for real, not just surface buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And they changed the direction of American culture.
And your grandmother didn't fit the beauty statue, and neither did she.
Absolutely.
In her world or in our supposed world of what beauty was.
Absolutely. And they were about women's rights, which made them like
a force to be reckoned.
Somebody's nose.
Yeah.
They wanted them to really go somewhere and sit down.
They really did. They really did. I have a question I'll be back to you, Evelyn. I have a question for you, Lucy. So tell me what, unmute yourself. I had to mute you. Tell me what the pandemic did for you.
Wow. The pandemic opened up the doors of many opportunities because we found out there was a little animal out there called Zoom and webinars. And all of the first time buyer classes, the credit clinic classes that I'm involved with, everything became available on Zoom. What happened also, though, it brought about laziness once we could go back in front of each other, because in the real estate world, we have passed various laws that state they must now present if you go to the actual board of realtors to get your class or your meeting, it is stated on your email that if you should choose to, you can view your meeting on Zoom. And this has remained as such. It also, I teach the real estate part to the first time buyer class, and all of that's on Zoom. And I know that the second Wednesday of each month, or either a Saturday out of the month, that the real estate portion or any part of first time buyers classes will be presented on Zoom. But it is very effective to get a group of people together and have them in a conference room,
right,
where you can actually get out in front of a crowd, because you can capture what they need right then on the spot. But the pandemic taught us that um, you don't have to get in front of anyone. But now there's no excuse, and I feel like we have to get back into the in-person module. For us in the real estate world, it is much more effective for me to stand in the middle of a room with folks seated around me and to show my PowerPoint and my presentation in front of them. But the pandemic was great. What happened, and as a result of that, it was great because it taught us that in my career, everything could still go on.
Right.
And it did. It went on. And I'm going to tell you, there were many lucrative deals made from watching webinars and Zoom.
Yeah,
getting
the
us.
world did not fall off the axis. Actually, it
It did
cleared
not.
it up
It did
quite
not.
a bit, the air and the water and all that.
Mhm.
Let's talk about how did it give you time to reflect and to write the book?
Well, we hadn't gotten to that point in of 2022, and of course that was just a year. It was a daze for me.
Right,
Pretty much I was in a daze. I won't
right,
tell. And
right,
so by the end of that year, I came across that book with the 3 chapters, and folks are still doing what they're doing because COVID did not go away and
right,
just go to sleep. Uh,
right.
folks was putting that out there. Oh, it's gone, it's over, and COVID was alive and well
And still
because
is.
It
yes,
still
it is.
is.
We would get around group just like right now. We have our mass with us as we converge on Tallahassee because we'll have just a lot of folk. You'll have a good 3 or 4 thousand people at a time in converging in a room here and a room there, and you have to be very cautious because you can find yourself back where you started and sick. And I had to be very cautious in 2021. I could not allow anything to go back to my house for my husband to pick up anything. He was dealing with enough for him to
Right,
go pick up something
right.
on the outside world. I stopped in my garage many times and simply undressed, put everything in the washing machine, and then showered, and then went and continued my evening. That's the way life became.
Yes, it can.
We did an event about prostate cancer.
Mhm.
And I'm not really sure what kind of cancer your husband had, Lucy, but just for a minute, tell us what lessons you learned about love.
Oh my goodness. Love has no boundaries, none whatsoever. We dealt with pancreatic cancer, as a matter of fact, and there are no boundaries. If you are truly not play, you can't be playing
Can't
with
be
it.
play, right, 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 right,
You can't play with love. When you get
right.
into that type of situation, that has to be real, because you will be in situations that you roll up your sleeves and you do what you need to do, and nobody has time to think about, oh, I don't know if I want to wipe the sweat off of his brow. I don't know if I want to do. If you have a true love relationship, which we had, nothing else matters.
And
Nothing.
see, that's the book that I would like you to write. That
Oh,
nothing else, and that would be the name of the title. Nothing else
wow.
Thank
matters.
you, Donna.
Oh, these 2 ladies here will just won't, they won't go away.
You'll have that one in time for next year's Fresh Books.
Listen, but I'm not talking about you personally because it really has
Yes,
nothing to do with you personally. It
that's
has
correct.
to do with the fundamental words that you take at the altar, at the steps, at the courthouse, or whatever,
That's
when they
correct.
say for better, for
Or
worse.
worse.
And when you don't know what the worst is and you're standing in the worst,
Yes.
you need to write about it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave you alone. I'm gonna leave you on that. I'm
Okay.
gonna leave you alone
Okay.
on that one. All
You're
right.
gonna make the tears come to my
No,
eyes
I'm
when I
not gonna
said
do that. I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
go.
get I'm gonna get through this without the tears. So you move on from that,
I'm
please.
gonna move on from that,
Thank
but
you.
put that in
Thank
the
you.
back of your head for 2025. I'd love to see that. Love to see that.
Okay. I will do
Okay.
so.
Miss Dr. Evelyn Bethune, tell me what the pandemic did taught you.
Ooh. I will say that it slowed me down.
Slow me down, put me in the hospital.
Absolutely. And it gave me an opportunity, however, to learn some more technology,
Yeah.
to grow a better appreciation and understanding of how technology can uh, stop being scary and be productive. And I have discovered also that there is so much technology and our community is lagging so far behind that, we think it's the boogeyman. It's not.
It's not.
And we better jump on board quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, because
Because
AI is coming whether you want it to or
baby,
not.
look at here. And if you want to maintain your status
Right.
or actually elevate your status, you need to learn it because these young people got it.
They got it and gone with it.
And most of them don't look like us.
And making money off of it.
Right. We know how to chit chat, gossip, and Facebook, TikTok on our phone. They know how to create apps, being applications. That's what we need to be directing our young people to because that's the wave of the future. In fact, it's the wave of right now. And graphic designers are discovering that what was taking them hours, folk can do in minutes. And so, when they were charging you $1,000 to do a book cover, somebody can do it for $10 and have it in your hand before you stop talking about it.
Absolutely.
And we have to get on board. The pandemic taught me that. And so I have become an expert. I've learned how to do the meta world. I've built communities in Metaland, and how to engage my business into technology so that I can communicate with people on the other side of the world because they buy books too.
They do buy books.
Absolutely.
Tell me,
Lots of them.
Let's talk about how the publishing business has changed since you started.
My. Since I started.
Since you started.
I will tell you, the publishing business used to be slow and easy. You could, it would take you 6 months, a year to really get a quality, good book out there. People are writing a great book in a month, editing included.
Yeah.
And taking it to the marketplace. And they're not waiting on Simon and Schuster. They're not waiting on nobody to get it done.
But
technology is responsible for that.
But have we had some setbacks when it comes to doing things just a little too fast?
Oh, absolutely. Because now we don't even talk to each other. So sometimes the content is, quick, fast, and in a hurry. It's like putting stuff in the air fryer instead of letting it simmer and stew for a while.
Right.
The flavor is not the same.
It's not the same.
Because if you don't learn, technology is more than just surface learning. If you're going to get the best from it, you have to understand how to manipulate it and train it. AI is wonderful, but it only gives you back what you've trained it to do.
Right.
So whatever you put in is what you're going to get back. Garbage in, garbage out. And so what I'm finding is that people, put the basics in and then they put a cover on it and put it on the marketplace. It doesn't have any depth. It doesn't have any heart. It doesn't have any soul. And because they haven't trained it properly.
Well, I think for me, it's more, I hate the fact that melanated people give non-melanated people finances and funding for a product that they know they should not put out.
Well, but Donna, they've been doing that
I know.
They've been stealing our stuff for generations. It is only the fast track of what has been going on
forever.
And what we have to learn to do is to value who we are and what we have to offer. Because what I find is that we think that we should be that second tier, when in actuality, we are top tier and everybody's trying to get what we got. And they take it to the marketplace. And when we see it again, it's in a gilded cage, dripping gold. Because we threw it away. We didn't value it.
We didn't value it.
Right. We didn't know its worth because we don't know our worth.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Dale, I did get your comment. I'm not quite sure that you're realizing what we were talking about. What I'm talking about is I've had authors on this program who have written a book, and the first page you can't get through because it's not written in English
It's
that you
horrible.
understand.
Thank you.
Horrible. And they gave somebody money to do that and
Yes,
to
ma'am.
publish it. And they threw
No
parties about
editing,
it.
no
And
formatting.
they had grand book reviews. And not to say, listen, there were typos in War and Peace. There were typos in the Grapes of Wrath,
This goes
right?
beyond typos.
And so in the publishing business now,
Mhm.
it's easier because you can do a lot better editing. You don't have to sit up all night and do it, right? If
Right.
somebody sends you a manuscript, you can even have the manuscript read to you as opposed to you having to sit and read it, which
Yes.
makes all the difference in the world, right? And if you're auditory, then you can pick up things even through the auditory that you would not have picked up reading,
Right.
right? Right. Yeah, that makes a difference.
Absolutely.
And so,
They get a flow and a rhythm. And you can tell whether it makes sense, because a lot of times, I've read some manuscripts and I'm like, well, did they leave something out? Is there a paragraph missing? Something.
I know, I know, I know. Have you thought about a trail?
Have I thought about?
Tubi, Ubi, Ubi. I don't have a TV, so I can't.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
All I can tell you at this moment in time is that it's coming.
Okay, good. Good. And then I'll go to you, Lucy. I'm going to mute you 1 second, Evelyn. And so what we're saying to you, unmute yourself, Lucy, is that the story that you need to be told, that you need to tell, needs to be on a bigger screen than the one we're looking at right now.
Yes, yes, I agree with you. After going through that second book, um, there are some snippets that need to come out, and the best way for it to come out, I would say a short film, a
Yeah,
short,
or trail,
a short
nice
film, short
trailer.
story.
Yeah, short
Yes,
story.
a
Because
documentary type.
right, and we still have a lot of people who, I hate to say it, are not really readers,
That's
right?
correct.
So you could still effectively get that story told if it was in a small documentary, if it was in a trailer, or at least
Yes.
get the people to think about, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I will sit and read this book, right? Because you have just that 9 minutes or 10 minutes of visual and auditory for them to look at. So
And Evelyn, Dr.
Mhm.
Bethune provided us with that first book that Clayton did. There we have audio tapes. If Dr. Bethune remembers, I've got a little box of them in the closet at home. We have
Angie B.
Oh,
Angie
she
B
did?
did that. Yes, we
Okay,
have tape. We
okay.
have audio.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, I mean, you need to pull the dust off.
And I will tell you, there's so many different ways now to do that, that it can be made incredibly more interesting.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because things have really just taken on a
Technology
whole
has
yeah,
changed the whole lay of the land.
right.
Wow. Okay.
And we have so many more creatives out there, young people
Yes.
who are looking for stories to create, right? Now, I'm not a real television fan, but I do like short auditory things to listen to because I think that grabs your attention, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So another thing for you to think about.
Oh, boy.
Right. I want to talk briefly about Bethune-Cookman University, and you both are dear to the university, right? And I don't want to go into anything political. What I want to say is that How do we get people to push away the static and bring back the history and know why it is that we stand in front of the White House on that property and the atmosphere change?
I will say to you that Bethune-Cookman University was founded on faith and
Yeah.
prayer on a garbage dump. So when you look at it today, all that white noise, it will be here. You know, Bethune-Cookman will be here when we are all gone and turned to dust, because it is anchored on something much greater than foolishness.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so what I say to everyone, some battles are not mine to fight.
Right.
And so I love Bethune-Cookman because I know what it was founded on and the greatness that it's anchored in. And we can fight each other, and it will be just like everything else that happens when we fight each other. Someone else will slip in the back door
And
take.
when?
Absolutely, because the goal is to keep us distracted
Yeah.
with foolishness.
Yeah.
And so our goal has to be to tell the story, to talk about the greatness of the university, to talk about the greatness of its founding and what its foundation was built on, because it's built on a solid foundation.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
if we want to make sure that it makes it into 2025 and beyond, we have to support it. And we have to support it in an organized fashion so that it matters, because SACS is critical to its survival.
Here's the thing. I think that being authors and publishers and producers of literacy, that an anthology of, let's say, 15 authors, right?
Already in the works.
Oh, okay. So I want to be one of those. I'm just
I think the
because
story has to be told
but
from
told differently.
right, from
Because
different
you're
perspectives. That's what I was going to say. From the
you're
old to the new.
right. Because what
Because
you
the
get from
graduates
that,
are
right?
all over the world.
What you get from that is one thing. What Lucy gets from that
It's
when you
something
go
different.
is very
Yes.
different. I
And
wasn't
Donna, you
born
know, I travel all over and I hear the stories. I hear how the university, the college changed people's lives. And it's still changing their lives. Whole generations. That's the story.
Right.
And that's the piece that you never see.
Right. So
we're going to see it.
Yeah, the book would be, if you need a reason, here's
We're going to
50,
see it.
here's 25 reasons why.
And I will tell you, I have so many more than 25.
Oh no, I know.
It's like an
Anthology 1, 2, 3.
encyclopedia.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That when we talk about stories having to be told and realizing the jewel that we have in the middle of that city,
It's amazing.
city of Daytona Beach.
There are people who are telling the story from before there was like the library, Harrison Roads, Faith Hall, Whitehall, Curtis Hall. Meg's wasn't even built yet.
There, right.
And so it's amazing.
Those are the stories.
Yes.
Because those people aren't going to be here 10 years.
Absolutely.
They're not.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not saying that I'm God and I know when people, but everybody has life on the planet. A plant.
But we don't know.
Well, we don't know.
We don't know. Because we're talking about 13 years with Fresh Books.
Right.
Kevin was there with me.
Yes.
Kevin's not here anymore.
Kevin's not here anymore.
Right. And so here we go. We don't know.
We don't know.
So we have to tell the story while we're above ground.
While we're here.
While we got breath.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I want to talk really briefly because if I go more than an hour, I can't get this thing up on Instagram. You know how that goes. So, Lucy, I want to talk about how you, and this, we've gone off script, so I'm going to throw this away. About your sorority. Now, I'm not a sorority person. I'm not in a sorority, but I do know that the foundation of it is very important. And yours is community service, period. Right?
Yes, yes.
Tell me why you think that that institution should remain and should be not vilified as some people try to do.
Or trying to make that voice die out.
Yes.
Can't do that. It will speak. It will continue to speak. We keep getting these very prominent people who are looking at my sorority, for instance, Sigma Gamma Rho, and just moving it up to another element. For us to get a text this evening that we just finished the movie that we did with Fantasia, and she was at someone's ball game performing the national anthem.
Yes, she was.
So you can't get it to go away. That's the whole thing. You just can't. You can't get rid of us. We're not
Right.
going anywhere. When we've got Dr. Cleo Higgins, and at last year's regional in South Carolina, large portfolio photos all throughout the middle of the hall,
Mm.
was pronouncing all of these women. And of course, right in the middle of that, there she was, Dr.
Yes, she
Cleo
was.
Higgins.
Yeah.
And it was just, a wonderful thing. We could look at that and take a picture with that. And there, actually, Dr. Mary Alice Smith had a spot there also. So for you to get to the regional that covered South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, all of these states, and in the middle of all of those women,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the local person, Cleo Higgins. And actually, you could have looked to find Carmen's mother, because Mrs. Constance Oliver. Uh,
Absolutely.
we stand on the backs of so many. The inspiration is there for me. I
Right.
mean, it just won't go away. Regionals are coming up in a couple of months this year, and we'll be in Memphis, Tennessee. And so it is a blessing. And yeah, I'm headed to Tallahassee in the morning, where folks want of things to become nullified. And why do you have a divine nine? I made it my
Because we
business.
put people in presidencies.
That's correct. And I made it my business last year to stand next to state senators and representatives, and you will see me in my blue and gold sweaters. I had on my realtor shirt in the middle, but I had my sweater on wrapped
Yes, you
around,
did.
and I stood with them and made sure I got a beautiful picture smiling right by them, with them putting their arms around me, hugging me. And they looked, oh, I see you're wearing that sweater. I certainly am. I stand here proudly and wear this sweater. I want you to know that
Right.
I'm wearing this sweater.
Right. Right.
So that's the whole.
That's
And of
nice.
course, they got the picture. They understood. They knew
Yeah.
exactly.
They got the assignment. Right?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
And that speaks to the beauty of Lucy Desmore. And that's why she needs to write that book.
Exactly.
That right there.
I'm gonna go to you, Doc, and I'm gonna ask you what your greatest accomplishment has been thus far in writing books.
2 children, 2 daughters, and a grandson.
A very handsome grandson, I might say.
Baby, look at here. And he is an eligible bachelor, okay? No baggage, and a great job.
Yeah.
And if he heard me saying that, he would kill me.
But I guess the other accomplishment I would say is that you've been in arenas such as Asala and others that other people just dream about. Those are accomplishments, regardless
Right.
of all the noise, right?
Yes.
Asala is a big deal.
It is. And my grandmother was president
Right.
along with the founder.
Right.
She was the longest standing female president
Exactly.
of the association.
Right. And I want you to tell people really quickly, and we're running out of time, but
Yes.
just how to find out about Asala, how important they are,
Oh my
in the
gosh.
historical nature of who we are.
Well, Black History Month came out of Asala. And
Exactly.
so, my grandmother was a mover and shaker in all aspects, and she believed in the organization of organizations.
Right.
And Asala was a part of that. She founded the United Negro College Fund. And so when we're talking about all of these organizations, NCNW is all about organizations. It's an organization for organizations. That's why they have millions of women. That's a voting block that changes the lay of the land.
Absolutely.
And so when we're talking about Asala, Asala is the treasure trove of our history. It is the brain trust of Black America, of the diaspora. The people who are a part of Asala are some of the most intelligent Black folk you're going to find on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Okay. And some of them, I don't even think they're from planet Earth. I think that they would drop down from the spaceship because they are so brilliant, so bright. And our young people, this past conference, I was dancing in the hallways because it was filled
with young
people, scholars who are doing the research, who are writing, who are engaged, who are talking, who are making film, who are they're doing every level that you can imagine to maintain, talk about, document our history. That's what Asala is.
It is. And if you don't know,
oh my goodness.
If you don't know who or what Asala is, please look it up. It is an amazing organization.
Just Google them, and you can Google Black History, and it'll come up because it is the organization that houses our history, the founding base for Black History Month. And if you're not a member, membership is inexpensive. Join and support the organization. They are reading banned books on every corner they can find. They are giving books to kids. They have cars that are dropping off books on the weekend. Because we got to read. We have to know our history.
We got to read. Literacy is a legacy. That's what we stand on here at Fresh Book. I need to, Lucy, tell people how to get engaged with you, not only as an author, but as a real estate broker and agent really quickly. Doctor, if you'll just tell us how to get in touch with Bethune Publishing. And of course, we need to do this again in February. I will reach back out to you for some dates because this conversation wasn't long enough, first of all. So Lucy, I'm going to go to you first.
Lucy Stewart-Desmore, CL-Desmore at bellsouth.net, 386-295-7758.
And I'll ask you for your pearl of wisdom.
Oh, my pearl of wisdom. Well, my pearl of wisdom comes from the inside cover of that first book.
Yes.
It's the quote that Clayton Desmore always put in his books. And it said, keep looking up. That's where success is.
Keep looking up. That's where success is.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Lucy Stewart-Desmore, for being on Zoom and on a Fresh Conversation tonight. And Dr. Bethune?
Well, you can get in touch with me at Dr. Evelyn at greatnessdna.com. That is Dr. Evelyn at greatnessdna.com. Phone number is 678-263-7577. I am also on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Just Google my name. It's right there. And it's Bethune Publishing. I'm also CEO of History in the Making Coaching Network. Look forward to hearing from you.
And your pearl of wisdom,
I'm on the Facebook also as Next Home at the Beach, the name of my company.
I like that.
My pearl of wisdom is a quote from my grandmother, of course.
Of course.
Invest in the human spirit. Who knows? It may be a diamond in the rough.
Thank you, ladies, very much for being on Zoom in on a Fresh Conversation. We will see you again next month.
Very soon.
Black History Month, because we have a lot more to talk about. And thank you for our guest here. Of course, I'm Donna Gray Banks, your host. And when the lights go out and the cell phone towers go down, all you have left is a flashlight and a good book. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Good night. We'll see you again.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Good night.
Bye.